Hi, Dr. Silvernail. This is my overview video for the professional development. Um, as I mentioned in the paper, we're really putting this into action, and we've got a timeline. Timeline is very similar to what I put in the paper for um, case study two, but of course I modified some things to make it actually non-fictional and so on. Um, so what I have here, whoops, what I have here is my paper. I'll show my face again in just a second. Um, and so so what I have here is the same stuff that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you a couple of bits and pieces and moving parts. And if you have any suggestions for me, I welcome that, and I hope to receive that well and to work on um, fleshing this out for um, the start of the spring semester, which is when we're probably going to kick this off. So, this is our course management system, just D2L, and we have an all faculty shell on here. And I had requested space on here for my committees first. And one of my committees that I'm the chair of is the curriculum committee. And um, and then the professional development. Currently, it's hidden right now until we get final approval and everything. But you'll see the same things on here that I showed you on the in the paper. Um, so moving through this, the multicultural curriculum overview. This is just like I would open up with a module with learning objectives, key concepts, brief overview. Um, And then I start to go through each element, each approach to multicultural curriculum reform one at a time. I do have quotes from James Banks throughout this, and I have um, instructions, please do this first or last second. Um, I'm happy to share any of these resources with you, but this professional development is made up of um, resources and then activities that I have designed or I kind of found and modified and stuff like that. So essentially, very similar to a lesson plan, but with the goal of meeting um, Schmoker's kind of back to basics thing. Um, and so there's the brief overview, and then there's a couple of videos about multicultural education. And then I pull from Paul Gorski here and there. Oh, this is not Paul Gorski yet, but James Banks has a bunch of different articles on um, on those four approaches. And what I did is I went through several of them and I attach them in different places. I take summaries and put them in one place. I take this is like kind of a medium-sized article, right? And then I do have some longer articles. So I'll show you those in a second. So the first thing they're going to do, formative assessment, really is this discussion board, and they're going to return to this 2 times after this first. They're going to update their definitions. And then they are going to add an example of an excellent practice. So that's the second time. And then the third and final time is they're going to come back and they're going to um, uh, discuss what their own strengths and weaknesses are in their own practice. And this aligns with, whoops, I keep bringing up my children's literature curriculum. This aligns with my objectives. And in Appendix A, I've got my objectives and assessment alignments. Um, and so you can see those across the board there. Um, so uh, then there's a lot of reflective writing throughout here. Then step 3 is kind of shorter. It does not have a or it does not have an objective specifically associated with it, but this step in between um, witnessing excuse me, between defining and describing multicultural curriculum reform and step 4, developing as a multicultural educator. There are some things that I thought that would be prudent to put in there for scaffolding, and that is that I want to show this, in action. I want to show it happening. So I've got a video here, and this follows some CTE work. It's very interesting, and they operate kind of at the social action approach, which is really neat, I think. Then we differentiate between ethnic studies and multicultural education here, and then there are common questions and critiques of multicultural education, and I actually I need to put in a citation there because I pulled that from Gorski actually, so I will put that citation in there. Look through these things 10,000 times and then you discover stuff that's missing. There are some discipline-specific position statements, and these are just 4 examples of position statements on multicultural education. But it is the start, and the plan is to kind of add to that library. Step 4, developing as a multicultural educator. Another video. This is a TED Talk that is just outstanding. And then I have a couple more links here. Whoops. And then key characteristics, again, from Paul Gorski, 20 Things I Will Do to Be an Educator, again, from Paul Gorski. He's got a lot of little handouts here and there. Tried not to rely on him too heavily, but his stuff is so good. And then they return to this discussion board, and they do that again. That's the second time. And then in the third one, I asked them to specifically go through the module in a particular order. And there are several, or there's just a couple of links here. And then I asked them to design an activity. They can either design the activity and upload it to the assignment folder, or they can design an activity and upload it to the discussion board, depending on how comfortable they are putting that stuff out there. Either way, I'll give them qualitative feedback on those things. So there's that. And then they return to this discussion board one final time to do what I was talking about before. And then the last step is a much more in-depth reflection that is based on a combination of narrative, evaluative, and critical reflections. And those steps have been tested over and over and refined over and over in my own technical writing classes and composition classes, and I found that and actually a lot of us have developed these. And then I asked them to reflect in a particular way, audio and video. But I do allow them to do, I'm going to allow them to do whatever they want, really. And then quality teaching rounds. And here I do not have anything yet. However, I do describe stuff in the paper. And so I wanted to point that out. What I have done here is I've pulled from, I think the names are Bao and Gore, and I've pulled from them and I've designed it like they suggest. And there's a couple more things I'm going to have to do to refine it, but this is sort of second draft level, and I need to kind of meet with my leadership team and figure all that stuff out before I finalize the observation documents and that kind of stuff. So there you have it. That is my professional development. I've got activities, I've got lots of videos, I've got lots of links and articles, and then I've got several activities and formative and summative assessments, which I do describe here somewhere. I think in the appendix, yeah. The appendix, of course, nobody receives a grade for this stuff, but I do want to give them qualitative feedback and then use the quality teaching rounds to improve this process. And I think that's it. So I appreciate your time, and thank you very much for cutting me some slack on the date and time. And I will see you in the spring for your gender diversity class. Thank you.